Hello and welcome to Odds-On CONMEBOL Qualifiers for the World Cup Match Day 3. We have some good games. We are back with our Latin American expert, Leo Bachanian. I see you. You are very happy, Leo, with your Boca jumper, ready for this new match day.
Absolutely, Edu. Very good to see you. Yes, I'm super happy. We're going to play the Libertadores final, 4th of November in Rio, in the Maracanã. Couldn't be better.
Well, could be better, Leo, because Argentina can get 9 points, for instance, if they beat Paraguay. But let's see, we have 5 interesting games on Friday. So, guys, remember to comment the video with us, press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. Also, remember that we have a special offer with 1xBet. You can get an exclusive welcome bonus, 130%. Just register using our promo code here. You have the link also in the description. So the first game, Leo, that we are going to analyze, in my opinion, is the best one. Colombia, Uruguay. Colombia 4 points, Uruguay 3. I guess both could be happy, especially Colombia, for the first 2 match days. 2 clean sheets, only 1 goal scored at home against Venezuela. For Uruguay with Bielsa, remember, on the bench. At home, they got a good victory, but away, Leo, they took the lead in Ecuador, and finally, they lost.
Yes, I agree with you. It's one of the games to watch in this round of fixtures. For Uruguay, this doubleheader is quite challenging because it's Colombia away in Barranquilla, the first time this week, and then it's Brazil at home in Montevideo next week. And also it's quite a strange week or days in Uruguay, or for Uruguay, because look, they got to know that they already qualified for the 2030 World Cup, but they got to know if they're gonna play yet in the World Cup in 2026. Those are the strange times we are living in, that they have qualified already for the 2030, but not yet for the 2026. But yes, we know that Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, they're going to host the 2030 World Cup. At least they're going to host 1 game each. So that's what they have already qualified. We spoke a month ago on how good was Uruguay, yes, in their debut against Chile at home. The Quito experience, Edu, was different, not only because of the 2-1 defeat, but the Charruas could not replicate at all the performance of the first match. Bielsa made some changes which looked a bit odd, to be honest, before and after the game, like the inclusion of Agustin Canovi on the right wing instead of Facundo Pelistri, the Manchester United player. Then it was quite strange that Darwin Núñez did not play the second half. I thought that maybe he got a knock, but Bielsa was asked even this week if something happened to Núñez on that game, and he said no, that it was a tactical decision, which again was weird because Darwin was one of the best players for La Celeste in that first half in Quito. But it's true also that Uruguay was denied a clear penalty almost by the end of the match. We could have given them at least a point, but still work in progress, Uruguay with Bielsa. Although the core of the Uruguayan team is form of players who play in Europe, the reality is that Bielsa had less players at his disposal to choose for this double fixture, because at the moment there is a strike in the Uruguayan football. They haven't played a match almost in a month. Going into what we can expect based in what we have seen so far, Uruguay is a team that clearly values aspects of like dynamics, mobility, rhythm, collective association in the construction of the game. It's a team that depends a lot on intensity and movements of their players, especially with someone like Bielsa as a coach. Against Ecuador, many of these aspects were missing, maybe because of the heat and because of the altitude. And now they are traveling to Barranquilla, which of course is far from being a challenging point in terms of the altitude that they suffer in Quito, but the heat and the humidity are terrible there. So we have to see how they cope with that, especially against a team like Néstor Lorenzo's Colombia, which are so good in quick transitions. Colombia do have problems of their own too, mostly with injured players. The right back, Daniel Munoz, is injured, and the player who got called to replace him, Stefan Medina, got also injured this weekend. The same happened to the striker Diego Baloches on Saturday. Jerry Mina and Cuadrado are out too. This time Juanfer Quintero was not called, but James Rodriguez is part of the squad. In attack, I believe the door is open to see both Luis Diaz and Rafael Santos Borré. Edu, last time in Colombia for World Cup qualifiers, Uruguay took home a 3-0 victory. I can't see these margins again, to be honest. I will be looking at a bit of a cagey first half draw with odds of 2.15 and both teams to score, which has odds hovering 2 at the moment on average on the Expedia website.
It's a difficult one, this one to predict. Colombia comes as a favorite, 2.15, but they've been struggling in these qualifiers, only 2 match days, but also in the previous one. And Leo, 2 names that I want you to assess because I think they are in very good form. Matías Vecino scoring for Lazio, and also El Pajarito Valverde doing a very good start of the season for Real Madrid.
Yeah, absolutely. And he scored, even though Champions League, they gave it an own goal for Napoli, what the Pajarito has scored was amazing. What a player he is. And Matías Vecino is like having a revival as well. And again, that's why they do depend a lot, Bielsa and Uruguay, on the dynamics they have in the midfield. And don't forget, Edu, as well, Nico de la Cruz. I know, of course, he's not playing in Europe, and sometimes he's out of the radar because he plays in Argentina, but he's doing so well for River Plate. He's the best player in Argentinian football right now. He had a massive derby against Boca Juniors a week ago. He was the star of that game, Nico de la Cruz. And when you think of Nico de la Cruz, Matías Vecino having a revival, having a good time, and Fede Valverde, who is the best Uruguayan midfielder in the last 3 years, and is going to be the best Uruguayan midfielder, I believe, in the next 10 and 15 years. He could be the best midfielder in his. He has everything, all the traits, he has it. I love Valverde. But again, my question mark on these midfielders or in this midfield is like what happened in Quito. I mean, Uruguay, it seemed, was not ready for the altitude, was not ready for the heat, and now they go into Barranquilla and they're going to play Colombia. When they play big teams like Uruguay in this case, yes, they want to play in Barranquilla, they want the heat, they want the humidity, and they put the kickoff not 9 o'clock in the evening. They put the kickoff 6 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's going to happen again this with Uruguay. So let's see how they're going to cope with that, but they could do whatever they want with that midfielders.
Well, Nico de la Cruz, he scored a brace actually against Chile in Bielsa's debut. Much clear is the next game, Argentina.
Yeah.
Paraguay here, Leo, I have an obvious bet is Argentina to win 2-0 because Argentina won both games 2-0, and we haven't spoken before the show. But it's obvious, I think. Argentina kept clean sheets in both games against Bolivia and Ecuador. But not only because of that, Leo, it's because Paraguay, they are absolutely unable to score a goal. They've scored only in 1 game out of the last 11 qualifiers games.
Absolutely. In attack is being a massive problem. It's a headache for Guillermo Barros Schelotto, who I believe he's on the edge, Edu. It's not just him. It's Guillermo. I mean, in this round of fixture, it's Guillermo Barros Schelotto, Gustavo Costas in Bolivia, Berizzo in Chile. All these Argentinian managers, they're on the brink. But yes, perfect start, Edu, for Argentina so far. To win in La Paz was superlative. Of course, we knew there is a gulf in class between Argentina and Bolivia. It's true, but to show it at 3,300 meters is not easy. Messi traveled that day with the squad, but was not available to play. Something that showed his leadership values in this team and his commitment with this group of players. This time around, he's not arriving neither 100% anyway. He just played 40 minutes on Saturday after a month without touching a ball in an official match. I personally have doubts that he will start in the Monumental against Paraguay. Maybe in Lima next week to face Peru, that could be different. Argentina highly likely won't count with Paulo Dybala as well because yesterday he got injured in the first half in Cagliari, Roma. I can't think of another player, Edu, that has got injured or sick so many times the weekend before traveling to play with the national team like Dybala.
Yeah,
I mean,
every time.
It's like the timing of his problems is just something that I never seen before. And then the absence of Dybala, the absence of Angel Di Maria, who got injured against Inter in Champions League, plus not having a fit Messi, all this maybe will open the door to see Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez sharing the pitch.
Total in form.
Yeah, well, Lautaro is form is amazing. He makes it impossible almost to leave it out of the starting 11. Yes, we know that he's suffering at the moment, scoring wise with Argentina, but still, you cannot leave this guy out of the starting 11. Even when he didn't score against Benfica, he was terrific in Champions League. And Julian Alvarez, he's been operating in a different role in Manchester City, not as a second striker, but more like a attacking midfielder. So why not to think of him playing behind Lautaro? Another solution could be maybe Angelito Correa, who is enjoying as well another good time with Atletico. Time to time, we talk about him, about Angelito Correa. It's like he has patches of great form through seasons. I think he's a very good player, but lacking consistency sometimes. In defense, Lisandro Martinez is out for a prolonged period of time. Juan Foyth was ruled out yesterday and replaced by Facundo Medina, who's having a fine season with Lens in the Ligue 1. All in all, Argentina, Edu, anyway, starts as a massive favorite, of course, against Paraguay. You mentioned how they cannot score. It's just amazing. They collected only 1 point, the 0-0 against Peru. They were very poor against Venezuela away, and they ended with a 1-0 defeat. I will repeat, Guillermo Barros Echelotto definitely is on added time as a manager, and we could have news about his future very soon. Just to give an idea, the situation of Guillermo Barros Echelotto in Argentina, he was being mentioned as the possibility of being the new coach of Racing after Fernando Gago left this past week. So he's gonna have to pray to Miguel Almirón a lot these coming days. All in all, I know it's a tip which tends to repeat with Argentina. You say it before, but it's effective most of the time. Argentina to win 2-0, odds of 1.85, which are not bad at all. I don't expect a goal fees here. Again, not Messi, which is not fit. Di Maria is out. So I'm a little bit more cautious in terms of goal fees. I will be looking goals under 2.5, odds of 2.10.
Okay, perhaps 2-0 could be, if someone likes to bet on exact score, could be a good score or a likely score for this Argentina-Paraguay. Next game for Paraguay is Paraguay. Bolivia playing at home against Ecuador. Here, perhaps the altitude is not playing that factor because, Leo, of course, Ecuador, they are also used to playing in Quito, which is also very high. And lately, Bolivia, they are losing at home. They lost the last 3 home games. It's true that against top rivals. But Ecuador was able also to win here in La Paz in the road to Qatar.
Yeah. Yes, they won 3-2 in a very, very good game on the road to Qatar. Of course, the altitude is a lesser problem for Ecuadorians than for any other team in South America. We spoke that with Argentina on their debut, Ecuador, they were good, they were fine. It was a fine debut, even though they lost 1-0. But then with the win against Uruguay, they have validated that. Moises Caicedo put on a fine display with La Celeste. Although the unlikely hero on that afternoon was Felix Torres, the defender who scored a brace. Felix Sanchez-Vaz, the Spanish manager of Ecuador, won't be able to count with Pervis Estupiñán, out injured for a couple of weeks. Another blow in defense is the absence of the center-back Robert Arboleda, who plays in Sao Paulo, and he got injured in the final of the Copa do Brasil. Leading the line will be Piero Hincapié, although he has lost his place as a regular starter with impressive Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. But he's still a massive asset for the tree. I'm surprised that Gonzalo Plata, who is one of the most talented Ecuadorians in the last couple of years, he was in the starting 11, even in the World Cup for Gustavo Alfaro. He has not been called up this time. Actually, after the World Cup, he stayed in Qatar to play there. And since then, Felix Sanchez-Vaz was a bit reluctant to call him because he considers the Qatari league as not very competitive. The head-to-head is largely in Ecuador favor. They won the last 4 times they faced each other in all competitions. They will keep enjoying up front, the amazing form of Ener Valencia, who couldn't take Inter to the final of the Copa Libertadores, but he scored yesterday in the Gaúcho Derby against Gremio. For Bolivia, Edu, we count 2 games, 8 goals conceded, and 1 goal scored. Not
Great
very
goal.
different.
Great goal scored at least.
Yeah, at least. Not very different, though, that what we have seen on record on the road to Qatar when they started like now against Brazil and Argentina and conceded 7 times and scored also 1. The Bolivian football is also in a state of a mess because in August the league had to be called off after a corruption case and match fixing scandal. In the end, a week ago, the Bolivian Federation reversed the decision, and the football is back in Bolivia, but very far from an ideal preparation for this game. So I will be looking at Ecuador to win here in La Paz, odds of 1.99, almost 2. Asian handicap of minus 0.5 for Ecuador with odds of 1.96. For me, favorites Edu here, the Ecuadorians.
Okay, Leo, full trust on Ecuador, and we go down in the Andes mountains to Santiago de Chile, Peru, and both teams, I would say, in trouble. Chile, only 1 point. They draw against Colombia. They lost against Uruguay, and they are not able to win games from the previous World Cup qualifiers, so the pressure is on us, on them. Leo, I wouldn't trust these odds, only 1.8 for Chile to win. I think these are really low odds. I don't trust La Roja, to be honest. But Peru, Leo, is still 0 goals in these CONMEBOL qualifiers, and the start so far is the goalkeeper, Gallese.
Yes, and to be honest, he was a star mostly against Paraguay in the debut with the 0-0. He did very well as well, of course, against Brazil, which is actually a very painful defeat for Peru because they lost at home in the 90th minute of the match. Marquinhos scored at the end of that game. However, Edu, I don't know if you know this story, but the talking point in Lima is not the Pacific Derby at this time, but the talking point in Lima is about the story of Oliver Sonne. Who is Oliver Sonne? He's a Danish fullback who plays for Silkeborg in the Danish Super League. What a Danish fullback has to do with Chile-Peru? Well, Oliver Sonner's grandmother is Peruvian, and he's been called for these 2 matches. And he was received by a lot of people in the arrival to Peru in the airport. The Peruvian Federation learned of Sonner's existence because of a tweet that gone viral, and they started the process for him to be part of the team at the beginning of this year. And so in Peru, the fans expect Oliver Sonne to be Oliver Atom, but wait and see for that one.
If he doesn't speak Spanish, no, I guess.
Not a single word. So we'll see how it's going to go with that. But it was the same case with Gianluca Lapadula. When he started to play for Peru on the road to Qatar, and as well, he couldn't speak a word of Spanish, and still, he's massive idol in Peru. The same happened with Brereton Diaz in Chile. We started to see these kind of situations more often in South America, but a Danish fullback playing for Peru, I haven't seen that one coming. The wait and see apply also, Edu, to Paolo Guerrero, 39 years of age, overseeing a revival of his goal-scoring powers. Let's be honest, after not a good time in Racing in Argentina, many in Peru thought that Paolo was closer to the Kings League than to play a part in Peru Road, to the World Cup in 2026. But he scored 2 great goals in Copa Sudamericana semifinal against Defensa y Justicia for Liga de Quito, where he's playing now. The faith in Paolo has risen now also because Peru will be without Gianluca Lapadula, who's still injured. He's still injured and recovering from that. Peru, this doubleheader with Chile and Argentina next week will be more complex than the first 2 fixtures, I believe, because for Peru has always been difficult to face Chile away, and even more now in a context of uncertainty and desperate hunger for a victory in which La Roja is involved. And then comes Argentina and Lima. Peru, Edu, never won an official match against Chile away from home. is not only that they have never won, but they barely gotten draws from them lately. For Chile, yes, there are difficult times because the federation is under scrutiny since FIFA has not given them even a match for the 2030 World Cup, only to Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, even though
Only.
Chile only, yeah. It's true, which is gonna leave 7 teams with 4 spots to qualify for that World Cup. It's amazing. But we can talk about that another time. On the footballing side, we will see if Eduardo Berizzo can resist again calls for his destitution. He will need his team to produce something similar of what they have done against Colombia, not just because they draw, but because the fighting spirit was there to be seen. Again, a KG Pacific Derby, at least for the first half, at least for the beginning, I can see first half draw, odds of 2.18. And here, even though I was mentioning the difficulties of Peru to win away against Chile, it's a different context. Double chance for Peru, not bad, odds of 2.20.
Well, Chile, they are in trouble, and I guess this shouldn't be a goal feast. Talking Chile only 1 goal score, and we know the difficulties also for Peru to score, so this shouldn't be a goal feast. If we want to watch goals, Leo, I guess we have to take a look at the game in Brazil. This game is going to be played in the jungle, by the way, in Mato Grosso, Arena Pantanal in the middle of the country. We have Brazil, Venezuela, they thrash Bolivia at home. We know that Brazil in home games in the qualifiers, they are impossible to beat, basically. And we have Vinicius recovered. On the other hand, Rodrigo is not scoring. I'm also really eager to see again Neymar, Leo, after breaking the record with Brazil, playing in Qatar. Well, here, I guess we should go for the Asian handicap for Brazil if we want to bet on this one.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the tips I'm going to be going at the end of this recap of Brazil and Venezuela. Look, Edu, Bolivia, Peru, and Venezuela. First 3 matches for Brazil on the road to the 2026 World Cup. The feeling is that the qualifiers will actually start next week for Brazil when they play Uruguay in Montevideo. Yes, although when you go to the head-to-head with Venezuela, Brazil has not trashed Venezuela at home as they have done with Bolivia, for example, when they scored 5 goals a month ago and also 5 goals 3 years ago on the road to Qatar. With Venezuela, you could find the 0-0 in Brazil in 2009, a 3-1 win for Brazil in 2015, a 1-0 win in November 2020 with Roberto Firmino, the lonely goal scorer, but this time could be, and it's going to be, I believe, pretty much very different. For Brazil, their interim manager, Fernando Diniz, is having a great moment, Edu. He took Fluminense to the final of the Copa Libertadores against Boca. Diniz, to be honest, is gaining more adepts day by day, and there is a possibility if the landing of Carlo Ancelotti next year fails to materialize, and there are louder and louder voices calling for Diniz to be named the official manager of Brazil. Brazil is going to find the Vinotinto that lost marginally against Colombia when they were defeated for 1-0, but then they won against Paraguay at home, 1-0 as well, low margins. The Vinotinto is going to arrive with Salomón Rondón in good form after he scored with River against Boca in the Clásico 8 days ago. He also scored yesterday to give River Plate a 1-0 victory against Talleres de Córdoba. But still, yes, I will look at first half Asian handicap -1. First half Asian handicap -1 here for Brazil, odds of 2.15, and also goals over 3 at full time with odds of 2 on average on Auspidia website.
Of course, in Brazil, we always trust in the Canarinha. Well, Leo, 5 interesting games. Next week, we have the 4th match day, always very, very competitive. These CONMEBOL qualifiers for the World Cup, remember, to be played in Mexico, US, and Canada. Leo, which one is your preferred bet, your safe bet for this round of fixtures?
I'm going back to the Brazil game. First half goals over 0.75. Brazil odds of 1.38.
And tell me your ACCA.
Yes. So we go with Brazil goals over 3, Argentina to score first, and first half draw in Colombia, Uruguay. That leaves me with an ACCA total of 5.54.
Great, Leo. We always learn a lot about South American football with you. Remember, guys, that next week we will have another video talking about the next match day. Thanks, Leo. Good luck to
See you
everyone.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.